Hey guys, my name is David, and I'm going to speak on a topic today that is what I believe to be underused, just not talked about enough. There's so much to deal with when you're trying to recover. So before I even begin with that, it's about setting new goals, new interests in life. So I'll talk about that in a second. I just wanted to give you a bit of my background. So I'm a recovery coach, and for addictions and behaviors, and if that interests you at all, feel free to reach out to the email that I'll leave in the description box. I have difficulty speaking, just so you know, and I suffer with pain, so bear with me when I speak. I'm in my third year of addictions counseling, and so I'm doing a lot of work with that. I'm a certified personal support worker, and I'm a smart recovery facilitator. So, and I'm also, I got into this all because at one point I was stuck in the throes of substance abuse, addiction, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't good, and I've learned a lot of lessons out of this that will be valuable for anyone coming out of substance abuse. So this would be the proper way to begin. When in the early 1990s, I was a teenager. I just became a teenager around 1990, 91, that year. And back in those days, there were a ton of parties. There was no internet. That's just the way it was. There was a ton of parties in those days, no shortage of it. I had my first drink, and then from there it was binge drinking with my friends. There were a ton of house parties, and before long, I lost control, and I was binge drinking every single weekend. And like my composure, the way I was blacking out, and a lot of different things. But that wasn't just it. That wasn't all. There was something else on the side that was occurring that I don't think people talk about enough, because this is what you're going to want to do when you get out. When you get out of the throes of addiction, when you take off that bandage, and you start doing new things. So, pardon me. When I was 13 years old, I was before then, I loved to ski. I skied for about maybe 5 years, maybe age 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, maybe 15, maybe let's say around 6, 7 years. And that was one of my favorite things to do, is to go to the ski hill with my friend. And, my dad would drive us up, and I'd go with my friend, and then his dad would come and bring us back. But as I started to drink and do this every weekend, I started to put away those things that I was interested in. And one of those things was skiing. And I remember, as I was growing older, like, getting to 16, 17, 18, 19, I always had in the back of my mind, I was like, man, I don't do that stuff anymore. I wish I could go. But, all I ever thought about was, well, as my life went along, right, I started to do other things, started to use drugs. And then, all life becomes is that. So all I need to speak of in that capacity is that you lose the interest. And that is a sign of addiction that is out of control, that you're not doing those same things. You put down the guitar, you stop going to church, you stop doing whatever it is you like to do, right? And a lot of people with addictions keep themselves at home, which isn't good. They keep themselves immobile. So, just pardon me a second. So what do we do about this? when we get to the spot where, and what I'm speaking about here is where actually you've done the work to, I don't care what it is, whether you've come off of alcohol, whether you've come off of alcohol completely, or you're in a medication assisted type thing, or an opiate assisted type thing, but you're no longer doing those same things. My hope is that you're not on anything, but if you're not in that capacity of abusing substances anymore. Pardon me a sec. So the question is, when you take off that band-aid and you're starting to learn to deal with your emotions, right? You're starting to, the cognitive behavioral model, you're learning to deal with those, controlling your thoughts and your behaviors. You're implementing your boundaries. You're finding out what those triggers are and how to get through these urges. But one of the most important things to get us back on track, besides learning those things, and you're going to have to learn those things, is to learn how to keep yourself busy. And I don't mean keeping yourself busy to the point where you get so worn out, right? But you're going to want to implement something new, right? So, skiing, listen, I don't know if you can bring yourself, after everything you've gone through, to go to man, there are people that I know who come right out of substance abuse and go into university. Some fail, some keep going, and it makes them stronger. So there's an example going into university because of what happened to them, right? It's a good idea, the hell that you've been through, and this is hell. And I know what the hell is like. Why not study it? Why not try to beat it that way, right? And there's another way. But you've probably heard, as I'm a smart facilitator, you've probably heard of, what was I going to say? It's hard to remember sometimes because I have pain in this. The SMART acronym. There are two SMART acronyms, okay? What is an acronym? It just means, like the letters to help you remember what it means, like SMART, okay? SMART recovery training is self-management and recovery training, right? In SMART recovery. But in addiction studies, you'll see in recovery coaching, and you'll see in just about every field, psychology, counseling, social work, that you use goals. And so the acronym is SMART. It's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So what that's saying is, be realistic about this. Be very specific about what you choose. Don't choose something that is huge and you're just gonna sabotage your own self, right? So we want something small and achievable, and we want to do it in a small time frame so we can achieve that goal. Don't make it too long, or you may sabotage yourself, not do it, and then go back to using because you thought you failed. So why not choose going for a walk? Maybe your goal is to get in shape again, and you probably should, after all the stuff that the liquor has done to your kidneys, to your liver, to everything in your body, even to your brain, right? So you want to get in shape. What are you going to do? You're going to bring yourself to go put your shoes on and go out the door, right? Maybe you're not used to that. Put on a pair of sunglasses or something. Maybe you don't want to be around people. I understand that after all of this. Maybe you do. There's always things that we can plan ahead of time, right? And so for a walk, you just want to go for maybe 1 kilometer. And what I can tell you with this goal is really good is that the endorphins, so in the 1980s, they found that we have like these free opiate-like receptors called endorphins. So if you've ever noticed, I use them every day because of my pain, because I want a free painkiller, right? To help kill my pain and help me think better, get your blood flowing. So after about 15 or 20 minutes of a brisk walk, you get that good feeling. Runners get it. You get all types of exercise gets it. And so there's a goal, right? So you go on 1 kilometer, you come back, you have achieved your goal. And I'll just finish off by saying this. Other than learning, your boundaries, your triggers, what not to be around, to be careful of relapse and all these things, in terms of a goal, if you learn all those other things, and you can do this even if you're still learning those, we want to fill our day with stuff so we are not left blank. We're not left in a space where we're lonely. And if you're lonely, to fill that time with things that you like, or your work, or whatever it is. But I recommend things around work that'll keep you better. That'll help you get back into life. There are a lot of things that I love doing now. Making model cars. I make them, I paint them, I put them together. It's a really cool hobby. I've done about 7 of them. They take a little bit to do. I hand spray paint them. And I love going out on walks. I work out every day, every single morning. I use discipline, and I hope you can find discipline too, but that would be for another video. I don't want to overwhelm you. I just want you to be able to develop that one goal, come up with one small thing to do. If it's a little bigger, that's fine, if you think you can achieve that. And so what I want you to do is write down SMART, S-M-A-R-T, or just go look it up and look what that acronym means. Specific, choose something specific, something measurable. Like, so specific, I want to go for a walk. 1 kilometer to get better cardiovascularly. So that's yes. The M, measurable, 1 kilometer. I want to walk 1 kilometer. Achievable. Is that achievable? That's absolutely achievable. So that's SMA. Is that realistic? Sure is realistic. Getting the pasties here. And then the T on the end of that is timely. So we did choose a time, to go for a walk would take what? 20 minutes, but also you can also choose, maybe you want to go on a walk every day for 1 week. There it is. So what you want to do is to do neuroplasticity in your mind. What is that? Your brain, when you're not used to something and you go to do something else that you've never done before or in a while, it rewires your brain. And that's called neuroplasticity. And that's why learning all different things, like you maybe find yourself in a space where you're like, how are people doing all this? I don't even remember how to do all that. That guy's multitasking and he's doing, well, how is it possible that he's doing all those things? It's because that person is a problem solver. You get my point? This is all in a bid to help pass your time, to get in shape, to find interests, but to become a problem solver. We have covered up our emotions all this time because of things like trauma and stuff like that. And like if you're dealing with trauma, that's fine. Just fill your time with new things. Keep yourself busy. I promise you that you won't be upset at these things. Not to say you're not going to go through times of upset, but upset at yourself about the outcome after you implement everything that I'm speaking about. Anyways, guys, if this interests you, recovery coaching, please reach out. I do have difficulty speaking. I do suffer with pain, as you can see in these videos. It's not always easy. It's easier sometimes than others, but I can help you come up with a plan together. I am not an addictions counselor um, yet, and I cannot take on that role. I can't give you medical advice, but I can give you resources. I can help you develop I can help you develop goals and a pathway of where you want to go, and I can help you get there. Okay.